Let's get it rolling here.
Welcome back to 92.5 I Think You Should Buy with your host, Kyle Hendricks.
Nick Gutierrez.
Yeah. And we're fired up this week. I don't know where my little radio voice just came from, but it's here to stay. Maybe I just run that the whole episode.
I was gonna see how long I could go before you'd say something. Let's go, baby. We're back, and
we're back and better.
Woke up this morning to a nice Vincent blowout, just right up the back, which was great. I picked him up and I'm like, oh my God, you smell so bad. And then I turned him around and he's got just poop smeared on his onesie, which was just I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, spilling coffee just all over yourself and in your car too. Because I can't think of a better way to start the day because like I said in my story, you want to start the day with some kind of adversity. Yeah. Right? Because it's like cold plunge, for example. Yeah. No one wants to jump in cold water. Nobody wants to spill coffee on themselves. Nobody wants to clean their car. But when you do spill coffee, it forces you to do those little things, right? Yeah. So same thing with Vincent blowing his diaper out. It's like, I want to start the day with that smell. I want to be able to wipe somebody's butt, in this case, my own son, signed up for it. But the reality is I don't always have to do that. So the days that he does blow his diaper out, I look forward to because I'm like, oh yeah, start off the day with a little something new.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing, anybody could go cold plunge, but cold plunge, diaper baby blowout.
How many people that are cold plunging just have poop smell wafting in their nose? Zero, exactly. Most likely. That's what I really need to do is cold plunge while getting that poop smell in my face and wiping his butt. Double it up. Dude. I literally have probably the most successful day ever.
Your sales would go through the roof. Do you know how many loans you'd be closing?
I would blow up, dude. I wouldn't be able to manage that kind of business.
You know what, Nick? I'm fired up for this episode.
Now you need to have a kid so you can get on my level.
I'm just simply can't be on your level with no blowouts.
Yeah, dude, the blowouts are crazy.
Dude, I gotta say, when we were over for dinner last week,
you smelt him.
That boy be farting.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna be like, I have to say, dude, your house smells bad.
That'd have been hilarious. But no, it was, dude, I was just cracking up because it's like, okay, we're this size, he's this side. Our farts sound the same.
They're not far off. They're pretty similar.
You'd think it'd be 10 times smaller of a fart.
No, they're the same noise, same sound, same smell. Dude. Well, not same smell, his are probably worse, but they smell. Baby farts.
How do they relate to yours, do you think? Honestly, being the man of the house, does that kind of put your ego in check? When you hear him kind of give a big, just an absolute,
it makes me feel like I do have to show him up in some regard. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I still want him to see what he's trying to work towards. Yeah. And I think it's at the passing of the torch.
I love to hear it.
In a way, I'm a little bit proud at the same time. So it's fun to see.
You just got to check him every once in a while, just hit him a little.
Yeah, make sure he knows who's the man of the household, right?
Yeah. No, I love that.
He's got to stay in check. But dude, 6 months old is wild. It's been the most fun age so far. I mean, hasn't been a long time, but from when he was born to now, this has by far been the most fun. He's not talking, but uses his voice a lot more. Have you seen that video I showed you of the kid who wants to go to the hotel? Me. He's the baby's probably 5 months old. That's freaky.
Yeah, but it looks like a grown adult and a baby.
It has adult mannerisms.
Yeah, and it didn't just raise its hand. It was
me. It's so freaky.
Oh, I love it.
It's been so fun. And
dude, I'm just cracking up because when I edit these podcasts, the AI gives you notes for okay, for this section should be titled this. The AI is gonna be baby diaper blowout.
Yeah, poopy diaper kid. Yeah. Fart. Who's the man of the house? Fart edition.
Yeah, and it'll give you descriptions too. Just how waking up with the smell of baby fart is the only way to start your day.
Dude, that should be the title of this podcast.
Dude, we'll see what the AI comes up with.
How poopy diapers can be the game changer in your day.
Do you think that when, whatever those smart people that came up with AI, do you think when they were coming up with it, they're this is what it's going to be used for, to listen to podcasts and just come up with
create those kind of titles? Yeah, probably. They if they didn't think like that, they should have. And we're here now, so they have to adapt.
We're just evolving society. We're having AI write those titles. Officially
the whole AI thing is crazy to me because I feel it takes away from the actual thought process that you have to do.
Yeah.
Like I've talked to so many people that are like, oh, I just asked ChatGPT and it just fills it out for me. I'm like, it's nice. It helps with time, but I don't know about like long term. I just feel like it's going down a dark path.
Yeah, it's just funny you're saying that, and I'm just like, for every episode, I'm just like, all of my topics I've talked about have been ChatGPT. I'm like, yeah, dude, like that's crazy.
Yeah, we definitely shouldn't do that.
No, it is crazy. I feel like we're like becoming like the real life Wall-E movie. Like we're all just gonna be fat blobs and like not have to do anything here pretty soon.
It's honestly freaky to think about because like it's pretty tame right now, but give it like even like 2 more years.
Dude, honestly, one thing AI will never have on us, and this goes back to my win from last week. AI can't tackle a wave. You know?
So true. They're not gonna be able to. The stuff that actually matters.
AI can't go to Italy and have a cappuccino. I mean, think about that. Like, AI never stands a chance. Some people are like, it's going to take over all this stuff. I'm like, we just got to unplug it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it can't do anything about that.
Yeah. I mean, what's it going to do? So, AI is going to be really helpful, and it's probably going to change the whole landscape of, in 5 or 10 years from now, it'll probably be so different, but I'm not like the guy that buys into all that. Like we're still it's never gonna beat like the human experience of doing this stuff like we just talked about.
So true.
Yeah. And that's what we're talking about this week is AI and the effect that that's having on human civilization.
I know everyone's been asking in the comments, like talk about AI. So this is the episode you've been waiting for. Yeah. But it's crazy. Dude, your time in Arizona is almost up. You got like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. What is it? Is it 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
It's probably about 3 weeks, and then gonna drive up solo because Jasmine's gonna be on her bachelorette trip, and I'm gonna be packing up and making the drive solo. But yeah, I got 3 more weeks. I think on our last weekend, I just texted you and some of the boys last night. We're gonna do like a pickleball tourney at our crib, and do like a pool day.
That's gonna be. I feel bad for all you guys because we're just gonna get your asses kicked, but. It'll be fun. It'll be fun for me, for sure.
Yeah, you have no idea what you're getting yourself into.
The best part is I haven't even played pickleball. Like
I haven't either.
Since the rage has picked up. Like I haven't picked up a paddle since I was in like 6th grade. And I'm still gonna win it all, which is gonna be the funniest part of that.
Embarrassing, dude.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But what when are you going back to Hawaii? I think that's the question everybody wants to know. Is when do the Hendricks, because Jasmine at that point will most likely be a Hendricks.
Not most likely. She's going to be a Hendricks.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Are you moving to Hawaii before the wedding? No. People want to know. Are you?
So this is the time.
Do you live in Arizona?
Dude, honestly, listen to this. And honestly, scrap our topic for the week. I feel like we're already going to listen to my timeline. And we was like, I always do this, and Jasmine can affirm this. No. It'll be like 11 p.m. We're just about to fall asleep. And I'm like, well, what if we did this? What if we bought an investment property in Columbus, Ohio? The cash flow, like the ratios there are actually about 16% cash on cash return or whatever. I'll just something random. But in this case, I was like, honey.
Did you call her honey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
Just want to make sure the story's accurate.
I called her, I was like, honey boo boo bear.
Yeah. Sweetie pie.
No, but literally I was like, okay, so your bachelorette trip's in 3 weeks. I was like, then you'd have to come back here on so you get back on a Sunday. So then we'd have to drive Sunday through Tuesday. We'd miss a couple days of work. And then my bachelor trip's on that Wednesday. And I was like, then I'm going to be gone until that Sunday. Then I'm going to get back and we're going to have to drive to Idaho the next day so we can be there for your bridal shower. Then I was like, and then
So why not just stay in Arizona longer?
Give it a rest. And then and then I was like, then we have that. Then I need to go back, visit family, get my suit, stuff like that. Then go back to Idaho.
Dude, just spit it out already.
No, this is the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and then we have our wedding. And then we have, I forget what the other thing is. I was like, and then move to Maui. And this is all like a
60-day span.
Yeah. And this isn't even a lot of the stuff. We got to pack up our place, get the car. I need to drive up. My sisters are visiting this weekend. We got to get our wedding bands. There was like something like.
Oh, you guys have to go to LA to do that?
Something right? Every week. And of course, I bring this up like 11:30, like she's like just drifting off to sleep, and she's like, "Are you kidding me, dude?
She's like, can you stop?"
You couldn't wait until the morning. So then like we're both just like not having like panic attacks, but we're like, "Oh my god, okay, we got to plan this, and this." And then so eventually, I was just like, "All right, you just fly home, like fly to Seattle from your bachelorette trip. I'll pack everything up and just drive up solo. That way we can do it over the weekend."
Give it up.
Yeah.
No, that's
so noble of me. But no, it wouldn't have made sense because I would have had to wait for her to get back here on a Sunday and then drive. And then I would have literally been driving and then dropped my stuff off, picked up my brothers, and then gone straight to Canada for the bachelor. So I was like, no. I was like, you go do that. I'll do this solo. But I was just like, dude, that 60-day span is insane. It's crazy because like the wedding is going to be the biggest thing in both of our lives up to that point. I'm like, I won't even have time to like think about it until it's like right there. And then moving. So to answer your question, moving to Maui after the wedding. So we're thinking August. Okay. We just got to find a place. And so we're starting to kind of look a little bit more seriously.
Well, so two things with that. The first is I'm glad you brought that up because you're going to be insanely busy over the next 60 days, right?
Yes.
So with that being said, if you aren't in need of a home loan and you were going to use Kyle, he's not going to have the time to take on your needs, which is why we're doing this together, right? So I'll put my contact info in the bio, and then you can reach out. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, though, this guy's got a newborn. Yeah. Like, do you really think he has time for you?
I'm totally joking. Don't do that. But
no, I'm not joking. Like, just think about this. Like, every loan you do with him, you're just taking time away from a little baby.
So you're moving to, I was going to say, so after all that's over, you're going to move to Hawaii. And my assumption is, you're renting for a little bit?
Yeah,
we'll rent. You're not going to try to buy when you're not there.
Yeah.
What's the game plan with that? Because, I mean, our podcast is focused about buying real estate.
Yeah.
And obviously you're going to do that at some point in Hawaii. That's the plan. Do you have a time frame on it? And then like, what's your plan of attack on trying to purchase your next property? Because you for people that don't know, you have a duplex.
Yeah, it's a great question. And we can think about this in real time because I have ideas, but nothing set in stone. Yes, we're going to rent there for sure first. I don't want to buy something sight unseen there, which is crazy because I did buy my duplex sight unseen.
Sight unseen meaning for just you don't want to buy something you're not in person.
Yeah, I had never, when I bought the duplex, we were living in Hawaii. I had never seen it. I bought it, closed on it, and didn't see the property until like a month after I had purchased it. I'm not brave enough to do that in Hawaii just because it's not a market I'm as familiar with.
Yeah.
As you know, in Washington, I had family, a good agent, boots on the ground to do all that for me. I trusted them, and we did like FaceTime tours and stuff like that. I need to be in Maui. I want to be there to like touch and feel it, just because I'm not, I didn't grow up there. I don't know the area as well. So the plan is to rent there, and that is why we left Maui and bought the duplex, is because we're like, holy cow, we love it here, but it is expensive. So we need some passive income to allow us to afford to move back here. And so that's why we bought that. The duplex cash flows really well, and it covers, it gives us a good chunk of money every month to help cover our living expenses. Once again, why we bought it. So that's going to cover a good portion of our rent. We're going to be able to live in Maui for pretty cheap because it won't be cheap, but using the cash flow to that to cover our living expense, we'll be living there for really cheap, which will allow us to save, just accelerate our savings rate and save more and more. So we'll probably rent for, I don't have an exact timeline, but until we feel comfortable, because, we do this for a living. It's, we preach home buying, but at the same time, it's got to make sense. And you don't want to get into a house and then be house poor and be like, I just spent all my money to get in. Now I'm stressed. Can't even enjoy the house. So I want to build up the savings again, because I had to buy a ring, bought the duplex, and then, now wedding and, just a lot of expenses. So get the savings up. And then I think our plan there will be to buy a condo, just because single family homes are really expensive. So I think the original plan will be to buy a condo that needs a lot of work. Just a crappy, like I want old carpets, I want old cabinets, like a crappiest condo we can find, and then I'll fix it up while I live in it, do new floors, paint, probably counters, like the whole deal, and create equity that way. Maybe dump X amount of money into it and then, try and create some forced value there. So I think that'll be our first move, and which will make good sense for us, and because we don't have kids yet. And then, so I think the plan is to do that, live in it for a few years, and then when our family grows and our space needs to grow, we'll parlay that into either save that if it's going to cash flow, and then buy a single family home. And a lot of the single family homes in Maui are like split levels, or they have an ohana, which is like on the mainland, they're often called ADUs or mother-in-law units. Yeah. Buy a single family home that has another unit to for rental income. So I think that's the plan. Buy a crappy condo, fix it up, to recap, create some forced value there, live in it a couple of years, sell it for a profit, obviously, because we fixed it up and made it nice. Take that money and then recycle that and then buy
So
a larger.
your plan is to not hold on to the condo?
I don't know. Like I said, if it cash flows and makes good sense as an investment, then yes. Like, so when I buy real estate, my goal is to never sell any of it.
Yeah.
But in this case, just because, like a lot of people, like we tell people, like, hey, your first home isn't going to be your forever home. It's a stepping stone to your forever home. I think that's what we'll do. Buy a crappy condo, force some appreciation, make it worth much more, than use our equity that we gain in that to buy our next place. That being said, if that can pencil out and we could rent it and make money, then maybe do that. But Maui's also just like a much smaller market where people need homes there, and especially like local people, where I don't want to own rentals on Maui, because I think it's more important. People are getting priced out. It's expensive. Yeah. I don't want to own rental properties on Maui, where it's different. On the mainland, there's a million houses and stuff like that. So I think we would do that, or it'd be more of like a live and flip. Which I hate using the word flip, because we'll probably live there for several years, but then use that to buy
eventually.
To buy a home,
upgrade it as time goes by and you're living in it.
Exactly. And speaking of that, I know that's something that you guys have kind of done too. You can kind of speak on what your real estate investing so far.
Yeah, well, I wanted to touch on too. You brought up a good point with renting, because we're mortgage loan officers that are preaching constantly to purchase and buy and get into real estate. But to your point, sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like, there's scenarios where it just makes way more sense to rent than it does to buy. Like, you're not going to move to Hawaii and immediately just go buy something to buy it and say, oh, I'm investing more in the real estate. So there's more scenarios. And I think the reality is it just depends on the scenario. I will say that when I look at a potential first-time home buyer's application and I can see that they're spending $3,000 a month in rent and they can buy a house for the same payment or less, and they have money saved up, I am 100% of the time going to say, you should not be renting anymore. And that's a scenario where I'm not going to force somebody, but I'm going to continue to, tell them, like, we have calculators we can show in a 5-year, 3-year, 1-year stretch of the difference between. And I think it's important to know that sometimes your payment is going to be more than what you're renting. And that doesn't mean that it makes more sense to rent still, because the amount of equity and appreciation
loan
your home
pay down, appreciation, all the tax
is going to benefit you than renting. So that was a great point. With us, we were lucky enough to purchase in 2019 and get in at a time where we found a home that we really loved, and in December purchased our second home, and we were able to do that because of the home we bought in the first place.
Yeah. Once again, it was the stepping stone.
Yeah. Using that money now, we have it rented out to get passive income to offset our new mortgage payment. With interest rates now compared to when we bought in 2019, our payment's more than it was on our first home, but we have income, like you had mentioned, to offset that payment, to make it a lot more comfortable to make that payment and not feel like we're tripling or quadrupling our monthly payment from when it was before on that first home. I think the reality is the quicker you can get in, the better. It doesn't mean to rush into it. The longer that you continue to rent, obviously, is going to not benefit your long-term financial goals, depending on what those are. So I think moving forward, Bria and I, our goal is is kind of copy what you're doing, whether it's a duplex, triplex, fourplex, and continue to build up a portfolio, so that I think you and I both can agree, like, we want to have as many doors or units, if you will, as possible to get as much passive income as possible, so that you always are going to have money coming in. And it's a lot of responsibility. I think on the flip side, it's not one of those things where you just buy a house, rent it out, and you just can sit back and watch checks come in. Like,
I feel like people make it out to seem like that, and I feel like it's being transparent and real in this industry is sometimes a rarity, which is unfortunate, but it's so important, because like I've talked about a few episodes, like, you get those tenant calls. It is, I mean, it can be totally hands off, but you're going to be paying property management, which, it costs some money. And that's the goal for me, is to get to that point where I'm literally completely hands off. It is all professionally managed, and it's literally just a kind of a machine at that point. But, we're starting out, we're young, I have the time, and I want to save the money, because I'm not, just rolling in the dough yet. like I hope, like I will be when I'm a little bit older. So I am self-managing, and yeah, that's totally work, but you've got to do work for anything worth it.
Right.
And it's that's totally worth it for us right now, because look how it's, set us up already. And I think the biggest thing is you look at your time horizon, you do all these calculators, like, what if I start investing at 20 versus 25 versus 30 versus 40? And you see like how those early years make such a massive difference.
Yeah.
When you bought your first home in 2019, we don't have to get into specific numbers, or you could if you want, but I'm sure when you bought it for a price then versus when you bought your second house, I'm sure that first house has gone up significantly
right.
in price.
Yeah, you can't. I think that's why it's so important, because you can't do anything about time, right?
No.
You can make more money
Yeah.
in the long term. You could wait, but the reality is the more time that time goes by, the more you're losing with real estate, at least.
Yeah.
And the numbers show it, which is why we're so like heavy on that specific topic, because the quicker you can get in, the better. That's why they say, don't wait to buy real estate, right? Buy real estate and wait, because then you'll watch your money grow.
Yeah, and that's something my grandpa like hammered in at a young age. Like he bought a couple of his properties, for one of them for, I think I might have already talked about this on the podcast, but $6,500, 65, not thousand, hundred.
Where are those at?
In Tacoma. And
no, I'm saying like now, where are those?
That property is worth like $450 or something like that. And he told me, he's like, and that property one day will be $1 million property. He's like, all my properties one day will be $1 million properties. And so he's like, and then, one day those will all be $2 million. Like that's just like we've talked about before, just like a gallon of milk was 5 cents, like, however many years ago. And, gas was 10 cents or whatever. It's like, it's just what happens. And we don't need to get too into like economics and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like you said, buy it and wait rather than
I know, you just having this conversation is making me want to like start looking at properties to invest again, just because of the fact it's like, if you have money sitting around that, I mean, we both invest, but if you have extra money laying around that you can use as a down payment to purchase another property.
Trust me, dude, I wish. Every day I look at properties every day and analyze properties every day. I'm like, well, now I just need the money.
Yeah, I just got to save up a little more.
Yeah, so we could do a whole nother episode on that.
We will
probably get into buy and sell time. But yeah, I really am getting into the Burr method. I want to do that next. Because then you can just recycle your down payment rather than having to save it up for each property. So we should do an episode on that, because I've been.
Yeah, I feel like you would be able to explain all that a lot better than I would.
We could do it like maybe even interview style.
Yeah.
Or something, but should we go into buys and sells?
Hit me.
All right, I'll start off with a sell. Like I wrote some down here. Okay, and this one, I'm not coming at anybody personally.
Great way to start.
People who don't respond
to a text,
to whatever, call, whatever it is. People who just simply read
who did it
and don't respond. I'm not going to get into anyone specific. And in full transparency, that's probably me sometimes, because I totally get to. Sometimes like this happens to me plenty, where I'll open a text and I'll either think I responded, or I'll open the text and I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta I'm cooking or whatever, and then you just forget. So like I'm giving people grace, but like people who like constantly just like
don't reply.
I'm like, okay, like either just say like, hey, I'm busy, or like I know I'm not that important. Like everybody's got stuff going on. I'm like, just give me the grace of at least saying like,
knowledge.
Hey, like, hey, I'm doing something, or hey, I'm busy, let's talk next week or whatever. Totally fine. Like,
it's a pet peeve of mine.
But the no response just kills me.
I think it's a pet peeve of mine more so because I have become so, what's the word? I like, that's a huge pet peeve of mine, and so I make it a huge conscious effort to not do that. And so I've like been religious with, the mark is unread on text messages? You use that?
The what?
On your phone, on an iPhone, if you can open a message, read it, and then go out of the message and then hold it and click mark is unread. So
Dude,
I do that.
You told me that like 6 months ago. That has changed my life.
Yeah, so I'm religious with that. So if I'm what you just said, if I'm making food and I'm like, I don't have time to respond, I make sure I go. And like that's an extreme. I think I'm like that more so because of our job. Like we're constantly getting texts and calls throughout the day. I could think of 2 people off the top of my head. I'm not going to call them out, but that bothers me a lot. So that's a great sell. Mine, my sell is what I just ran into, and we just talked about this, is when I was at the grocery store, people that don't put their shopping cart away.
Dude, I
For
love
shopping,
this one.
it's
love
like
this one.
you just walked around. You probably walked a mile. Probably on average, most people that are grocery shopping, you just walked a mile in the grocery store to get your groceries. If you can't walk that extra tenth of a mile, probably less than that.
No, like it's like 20 steps.
To put the cart away, like, there's a special spot for you at the loser table.
Dude, I just hate it because it's like you're literally, when you do that, you're saying I am more important than the person that works here and has to go pick up my cart.
That shouldn't even be a job for the cart person to like. Their job should be to go to the cart station to bring them back to the front.
Yeah, their job's not to go babysit you and have to go pick up all the stray carts of people that are too lazy and think they're too important to not go. That one, that one struck a chord with me, dude. I hate
what they should do is have somebody like that has a bird's eye view in the parking lot with a megaphone that's just like, put your cart back, and literally just has to call them out in front of everybody else.
Just literally roast them.
Or
like,
just
hey, orange pants, figure it out, dumbass.
Have a super passive aggressive cart guy so that he just waits for them to not put it back and goes, hey, thanks, as he's picking it up to take it back.
Dude, honestly,
you should be publicly shamed for
Kroger or Costco or somebody needs to hire you for that idea and implement that, because
I could be like the team lead and just start it up and then I'll bounce after I get them up and running. Would be sweet. That'd be a sick job.
That might be the best sell so far of this.
It just bothers me. I'm like, it's you had like one extra step or one job.
The thing with me is just, when you're doing that, you're saying I'm more important than the person that has to go get my cart because I was too lazy to do it.
Yeah, essentially.
It pisses me off. I love that. All right, buys. I had a couple on here, but I can't remember if I've already done them, so I'm going to try and think of one off top. Do you have one ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Classic rock. It's just, I've been listening to
classic rock?
Yeah, the last 2 weeks.
You're on fire today.
Dude, the last 2 weeks have been just pumping out Led Zeppelin, ZZ Top, some other artists that I'm listening to. I mean, Jim Croce is, I don't know if he's classic rock. He's a little before
he's
classic
like a little
rock.
like
we'll mix
folky
him in
maybe.
Yeah,
dude, I love.
Dude, who else have I been listening to? I gotta pull up some other songs. I'm gonna throw some songs out.
Yeah, you, me, and Logan's group chat, where that's literally all we kind of do is just send song recommendations, and it's only like probably a couple a week or so. I love that, dude. Classic rock is
CCR, Steely Dan.
Dude, Steve Miller Band.
Steve Miller Band's on here. This isn't classic rock really, but Electric Light Orchestra. Super slept on group. Yeah, I was lucky enough. My dad grew up playing guitar. I think since he's been I was like 12 years old, and he still plays in his church band, and then he plays classic rock in his free time. And so growing up, that's all I listened to was. I just thought that was like the norm. It's like you got to be raised on rock and roll.
Absolutely. Same thing here.
Yeah.
I feel like mine was more my grandparents though, but dude, Tom Petty.
Another
Tom Petty,
banger.
My whole life, as I've always said, he's my favorite artist. But dude, honestly, Bill Withers might be.
Yeah, you really have like a funk.
I love like I don't even know what Bill Withers technically would be. It's like he's not necessarily funk, but he's kind of like borderline.
Yeah,
it's like
I don't know
some like not even like
that.
soul. Like I don't even know what that one would be, but
and that's why he's in a league of his own,
dude.
Yeah, I'm slowly like this end of this week I've been transitioning into disco.
Dude,
just a lot of Bee Gees.
You sent some Bee Gees. Bee Gees rips, dude.
Dude, I had to look up that Bee Gees song. You Should Be Dancing. I didn't know what the name of it was, so I literally had to look it up on Google.
That song
found it immediately. Been playing it the last 2 days. It's that kind of music. You can't turn that on and not be in a good mood.
No. If you put that on, there's no way you're not putting your cart in the cart.
Yeah. If people would just listen to that on their headphones, while they grocery shop,
dude, that
they're
song
not
heater. Yeah, hopefully the mic pick it up.
Throw this on Monday morning while you're making your scrambled eggs.
Dude, I'm gonna bump this on the way home.
Windows down. You have a sunroof. This is me hitting the sunroof.
Dude, have you watched their documentary?
Yeah, I have.
It's so fire.
What you need? Have you seen the Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake? Dude, they're so funny on that.
Barry Gibbs talk show. Real.
Okay, enough of the Bee Gees though. I mean, you have to admit that's classic rock. Like as a whole, I think it wipes any other music genre. And maybe
I'd
I'm
agree.
Crazy, but
no, I'd 100% agree. Music ain't. I hate to be like that person, but like music, I feel like this isn't the same anymore. Especially like with like in the Eagles is another one. I don't know how we left them.
I would say
when they're all playing the actual instruments. Like in a recording.
The replay value is just it's 20 times better than music today.
That's what it is the replay value, I think. Because now,
and maybe we'll be saying that in 20 years with this stuff.
Yeah,
but
who knows? But dude, that honestly just brings me into mind. And my buy of the week, I'll just say it. We already brought it up. Bill Withers, dude. If you don't have, I mean, if you have Spotify, first, I mean, subscribe to the podcast.
Number one,
and second, go subscribe or click Bill Withers and just download all of his stuff. And there's Bill Withers Radio and This Is Bill Withers just on his page on Spotify. Give those playlists a follow. And once again, you cannot be in a bad mood listening to Bill Withers. He is the voice of an angel. Just an absolute...
When did he pump out a lot of his music? Like the 70s, 60s?
I think it's 80s? Like 70s, 80s maybe.
Is Bill Withers still around?
R.I.P. actually. He passed away a couple years ago. That was a heavy day. And dude, shout out Jeff Russell too. He actually just sent me a Bill Withers record in the mail.
Sweet. And like an actual record?
Yeah, an actual record. And
do you have a record player?
I don't, but I collect records just like for the art.
Well, you should get one.
Oh, I will. I'm just waiting till like I
have enough to
like a kind of forever home type deal. But I have, dude, this should have been my sell of the week. My grandpa had thousands and thousands of records in his basement. And records nowadays are worth a lot.
Don't tell me he just Goodwill them.
He literally had this guy come and take them out all for free. And I'm like, you literally tens and tens of thousands of dollars worth of records. But he's like, oh yeah, this guy collects them. I just gave them to him. And so I was at his house in the pool and I saw this happen. What are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm giving them to this guy. I dried off, ran down there and grabbed as many as I could. Like,
while the guy was there?
Dude, he had like the original like Woodstock, like Steve Miller Band.
Let me go to you first.
Dude, like our whole family's pissed at him for this. He just didn't know, and he has a lot of stuff. So he's like, I'm just getting rid of stuff. But I, like, no exaggeration, there was tens of thousands of dollars worth of records in there.
So you got some at least, right?
Yeah, I grabbed probably 20 like really good ones.
And then resold them.
Yeah,
you're like, I made so much money off of him, dude.
No, I eventually one day like want to have like a big man cave garage, and I want to have like a big record wall and a record player out there to play when I work out.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you hang them and you can't play them, so would you just hang the?
I would hang probably the cases and have the records in like a book or something.
I think Chris has a record player.
He does, yeah. Shout out Helly. But we're probably getting close to time here. But yeah, dude, Bill Withers, go give him a listen. Give the Bee Gees a listen. Give some classic rock to start your day.
Yeah, throw it on for the weekend. It's Friday. It's Friday when we're recording this, so this weekend. Go, I would say hang out by the pool, but if you don't live in Arizona, you're not lucky enough to do that. But if you are, if it's nice where you're at, put the windows down, turn on some classic rock. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you guys following along on the journey, and have a great weekend. Comment, subscribe, like the video. We're on Spotify, YouTube. We'll be on Apple here eventually. They're giving us some issues, unlike Fiji, where we have good companies that are willing to sponsor us. So. Yeah. Like, subscribe, comment. We're here to help. If you have questions, real estate, mortgage related, see you next week.
Pleasure doing business with you today.